Welcome to this edition of Silver Sneakers Boom Muscle. President Trump recently signed an executive order reinstituting the presidential fitness test. It's designed primarily for public school. I am a child of the 60s, at least I started public school in 1960, and participated in this fitness test several times during my elementary and middle school, junior high years. The new test hasn't been formalized yet, but in this video I was going to go over several possible options and modifications of what they might do with this. Again, this can be a fairly intense workout. You want to make sure that you have medical clearance before attempting it, and take things at your own pace, and again, whatever modifications you might desire. I'm going to start with some traditional warm-ups. Let's do some arm circles. And reverse. Palms up. And reverse. And some windmills. So reach down towards one foot. And up. We've learned over time that static stretching is particularly not beneficial before exercising, somewhat better. So we used to do a sit-reach test. For this, I just want to reach towards my toes and up. This is more of a dynamic stretch where I am stretching, but I'm also moving at the same time. The measure on this would be, say, can you touch your toes or not? So our first test might be push-ups. I'm going to do these on an incline. You can choose to do them on whatever level of incline you want, or flat on the ground. And the test would be to see, let's say, can you reach a marker of 10 push-ups? Next test might be pull-ups. Since we're in training for this test, I suggest doing this as an assisted pull-up or a hang. I'm going to use this machine, which is a assisted pull-up machine. Set the weight, which takes away some of your body weight, makes it a bit easier, but you can also perform a certain number. Pull-up is a very demanding exercise. I think it is rife with potential injury, particularly to your shoulders. You're going to get a cut. So until you can do assisted pull-ups with no difficulty, I wouldn't attempt a true pull-up at that time. There's various hand positions. If your palms are facing away on a straight bar, we'd consider that a pull-up. If your palms are facing you, consider that a chin-up. Idea is to get your chin just over the bar. On this machine, we have multiple variations of where to put your wrist. I would suggest doing whatever is comfortable. 33 years old and maybe dive training. Our minimum is 6 pull-ups. I think for the presidential fitness test, probably a minimum of 1 or maybe a 10-second bar hang. One of the purposes of something like a presidential fitness test is to encourage physical activity, improve your physical fitness, and again work towards goals which I think are important. On that assisted pull-up, if I reduce my weight by 65 pounds, I can do quite a few. That's probably telling me that to do standard pull-ups, I need to lose 65 pounds of weight off of my body. Might not be possible. It would put me into maybe an ideal body mass range. But I am shooting to lose about 40 pounds before the end of the year. The next test might be sit-ups. These can be done in many different ways. Often on a presidential fitness test, somebody would hold your feet. You could try and slide them under a bar like this. I can't even get my feet under that bar, so I'll just do them with my feet free. And do the kind of sit-up you might do on an Army physical fitness test. You cross your arms and you sit up to touch your knees when your feet go up straight. So you bring your knees up, touch, out. The standard for school might be 20 of those or so. They could have them as how many you can do in a certain time limit. We'll just have to wait and see. Another traditional test was the softball throw. Since I'm inside, can't really do a softball throw, so I'll do a medicine ball throw. This is a medicine ball that bounces. So one test I like, or exercise I like to do, is to throw this against the wall in a throwing motion. I picked 8 pounds, which you might find is quite heavy, but this is something I work on a lot. 2 pounds, whatever. Medicine ball that you can comfortably throw. Again, if you have shoulder issues, you want to be careful with this. Traditional softball throw might be 3 attempts or something like that. And again, it's measured for distance, with probably some distance as being a passing score. Some of the criticism of the presidential fitness test is that some of the events isolate the participant, and typically the rest of the classmates would be standing around watching, which for something like a rope climb, a school might only have a couple of ropes, and an awful lot of students fail at that test. Climbing a rope is not just a matter of strength, but of coordination. For me, I was husky, and I could not climb a rope even one bit until I went through puberty in about the 8th grade, and that following year I could climb the rope without using my feet. So there's a tremendous difference between the children in this ability. Plus, it's a test of upper body strength, which we've already encountered in the push-up test. So I would recommend not including the rope climb. or even pull-ups, because again, some children can do a lot of pull-ups at a young age. Others struggle maybe their entire life to even do just one or two. Also, I would recommend exercises that include, let's say, at least half of the participants, like during the sit-up test, where half are doing the exercise, the other half are holding onto their feet, or the entire class in something like your shuttle run or your beep run. I think it's important to emphasize core strength. So in addition to doing push-ups, I think a plank or a Superman, or even both, could be a component of the contest. So for plank, I would recommend doing these on your forearms instead of the wrist, again to minimize wrist injury. And then for time, so that everyone in the class can get into the position, hold it, and have the monitor call out like 15-second time intervals. And again, some participants are going to have trouble holding a plank for 15 or 30 seconds. Others easily beyond 2 minutes, so I'll probably quit the exercise at 2 minutes with a maximal score. A second exercise you can follow that with is a Superman, where you lay on your stomach, and at the start you lift your hands, you extend your back and lift your legs off the ground and hold that position again for time. And the entire class can do that at once. Again, it's I think more challenging than a regular plank, so maybe calling it a maximum at 30 seconds or a minute. You could follow that with a get up from the floor exercise without using your hands. And the participants can figure out any way to get up that they want if they can without using your hands. It's an important exercise that we've seen in longevity, that if you can get up without using your hands, it's actually associated with longer life. I have trouble doing this. If I can get that one knee up, then I can do it. I would follow this at this point with a one-leg balance test, where just have the participants stand up straight and lift one leg up off the ground and hold this for time. With your eyes open, some people might be able to hold that for quite a long time. Again, I think they should cut it off at a minute, and maybe make the minimum standard 15 seconds. Finally, we have some running component. You can do a shuttle run where you, let's say, do what I've called suicides. You run 5 yards back to the start, run 10 yards back to the start, 15 yards back to the start, and that's one repetition. You can do that for time. You can do a beep test, where online you can pull up a app that does this test, where it's basically a 20-yard run with a short rest interval, and the run times have to steadily increase as the rest interval gets shorter. And then the participants fall out when they can no longer make the time on that interval. And then perhaps a distance run. I think a quarter mile is sufficient for cardiovascular endurance. Generally, you can't sprint a quarter mile unless you're a top athlete. So you do start assessing cardiovascular fitness, but also minimizing the risk or humiliation of not being able to run a mile, which even many good athletes, particularly sprinters, would have difficulty, even though they might be in great shape, running a mile, just because their training is not been involved in that kind of endurance, and actually for sprinting could be counterproductive. So that's my little video on my opinions on the presidential fitness test, which I think is a good idea to restore the idea of physical activity for our children in school, hopefully to foster a lifelong interest and appreciation, maybe even love of physical activity, trying to stem some of the obesity crisis, which also requires, again, concentration on a healthy diet. But again, you need both components, physical activity and healthy diet. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you again next time.